because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Carrarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma! And so welcome to another episode of Speaking Serie B. We're going to be talking about our predictions on round 5, our impressions about the games on round 5, and we're going to be making our predictions about round 6 and much more. Here with me is the co-host, Jake Iovine of Città Calcio USA. Jake, welcome, and it's always good to be here with you in midweek.
Yep. Good evening, Ilya, to you in Hungary once again. It's good. I can't believe it. It's we say the season is long and it's still very early in the season, which is true. But 6 rounds or 5 rounds in, that's already more than 10% of the way in. So it's starting to. It moves fast, really quickly. We're gonna have an international break soon in October, and then by the time we know it, it's gonna be Christmas time, and we'll be in this. So, but we're back to good to be back, and
Awesome. So we are on round 5 already. We can. I'm setting up the screen to share the results of the most recent round so that we can comment them together. Would you like to start by sharing your impressions about the Cittadella game?
Yeah.
Cittadella who drew 0-0 with Catanzaro, as you can see here.
Yep. So 0-0 at the Tombolato. It's an interesting game to touch on because a point at home, it isn't a bad result. Especially against Catanzaro, who hasn't started the season greatly, but they're still there. They're still they played a lot like we expected them. Even Guarini said after and before the game that we expected them to possess the ball. They like to have possession. They very similar under Vivarini last year with Catanzaro, but this time with Caserta. Catanzaro did have a lot of the ball, but I think Cittadella had the better of chances. And I actually talked a little bit with Antonio from Lotta con i Lupi because he was at the game, and he said in his opinion that it was 2 points dropped for Cittadella, just given that the amount of chances. They even hit the crossbar on one of the chances. So it's interesting because yes, I do think Cittadella could have won this game, but at the same time, I think Catanzaro also had chances to win. They even got a goal called back for a foul. It was Pitarello, the ex-Cittadella guy, that scored. But yes, I think a draw is a fair result. That's what Guarini said after the game. So I think they just got to take it, and all eyes on Mantova this upcoming weekend, let's say.
Yes, we'll talk about the round of the next game as we move on with today's episode. And Catanzaro is doing an interesting championship. It's not the Catanzaro from last season, but still it's a tough reality to face. Although, yes, listening to you and looking at the stats, they might have had more ball possession, but you definitely made many more shots. So probably unluck played a little bit. I don't like to talk about luck and unluck, but
I will say
it's part of the game.
The opening 20 minutes, I think, that was probably Cittadella's best moment because the high pressure, the high press really caused Catanzaro a lot of trouble. A lot of their defenders, goalkeeper Pigliacelli was giving the ball away, kicking it out of bounds. So they really strangled the high press, and I think just after a while they kind of ran out of steam a little bit just to continue that. And you know, they didn't create as much in the second half. Still, you know, like I said, it's another draw. Still no home victory since January, so that still continues. That is now the sixth straight draw at home for Cittadella. The last
Wow.
time, interestingly, the last time they lost a game, I was actually there. I was at the game against
Huh.
Pisa. So
Don't
maybe
go back. Don't go back just yet.
so maybe like I did bring a bit of good luck because that was, you know, I they stopped losing after I came. So, you know, how about that? But still no victory, and I'm gonna keep on saying that until Cittadella do get that home victory.
Indeed, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. Anyhow, since we do invite the participation of the people that are watching us now and in the future, even through comments while we are no longer live, I would like to say hello tonight to Nicolas Straziota, who has been one of the protagonists of our previous episode with all his comments, who writes, "Good afternoon, Elia," and saying hello to Valentino Corias as well, who writes, "Ciao, Elia. It's awesome to have you here, guys, and being part of our live and help us with the creation of this content while talking about one of our passions." So since I would like to talk a bit more about the other games before giving my opinion about the Spezia game, I would like to briefly touch upon the other games of round 5 of the Serie B season. Cesena Modena was the game played on Friday, and it has been characterized by two ex-Spezia players, because Simone Bastoni, who's from Spezia and used to play in Spezia as well, scored the equalizer at the 39th minute. Then Cesena, through a penalty, gained the lead again, and Giovanni Zaro then scored the equalizer again, which set the result to be a draw between Cesena and Modena, 2-2. And Mattia Caldara, yet another ex-Aquilotto, was expelled at the 65th minute. I don't know if you watched the game closely, if you have anything to share about it,
I
Jake.
I was not able to watch this game, so nothing for me to really say other than it looked in it like an exciting game. You know, Friday
Mhm.
night under the lights. Apparently, it was a local derby. I didn't even realize that these two teams
Right, me
are
neither. Right,
rivals.
good point.
So yeah, but you know, 2-2 looked like a good game.
Indeed, indeed. So the other game, most of the games that played on Saturday were Bari Mantova. Bari that finally is back with a win in his own. Was it the first time that they won in Bari this season, Jake?
Well, in all of the season, really, that was their first win
Yeah.
of the season, 2-0 against Mantova.
All right. So Nunzio Lella scored the first goal, and then Valerio Mantovani at the
Oh,
89th minute.
Mantovani, like it has his last name kind of it has Mantova
Right.
in it. Wow.
Indeed, like yeah, exactly. Mantovani scored against Mantova after the Mantova lost a player, Simone Trimboli, at the 81st minute. Then Juve Stabia folds in the first game of the season in their own stadium after playing all the home games in Piacenza, if I'm not mistaken. The
Yes.
first game in Castellammare di Stabia was against Palermo, and Palermo definitely won the game 3-1. I don't know if you have anything to share about
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
game.
So, I mean, I didn't watch this game obviously because Cittadella were playing at the same time, but from
Right,
what I heard, I think Juve Stabia actually played a really good game and were
I heard
unlucky
that. Yeah.
not to you know, at least get a draw. I think Palermo were just very clinical in their attack. You know, from the highlights, from you know what I've heard, it sounded like Juve Stabia did play a fairly good game. It was just
Yep.
Palermo just took their chances brilliantly, and they got a penalty. So yeah, I think you know Juve Stabia is really proving a lot of people wrong this early part of the
I'm
season.
among those, indeed.
Yeah, look at that
Yeah,
possession.
because in our predictions, I didn't give them much credit. Instead, confirming your opinion about it. Possession 69% for Juve Stabia, 14 shots of which 5 on target. But then Palermo took only 8 shots, 6 on target, and basically 2 became goals, not counting the third since it was a penalty. But yeah, Palermo gained the lead, then doubled the lead with Henry, and Andrea Adorante tried to keep the hopes alive for Juve Stabia, but then the penalty at the 79th minute gave the away win to Palermo. And the next game of the 5th round was Cittadella Catanzaro, which we touched upon in the beginning, thanks to your insight about it. Then Brescia Frosinone that's really struggling, and I heard that Vivarini is being talked about. So I don't know if his bench is already at risk. What do you say?
Well, yeah, this was once again, it was on Saturday, so wasn't able to catch any of it. But I had the notifications on for all games, so I just in the first half it was 3-0 to Brescia. I just kept seeing like goal Brescia, like on the foot mob notifications. So I was like, wow, Frosinone. Yeah, I think this is a red alert for them because this is not a ideal start to the season. Them along with Sampdoria, the only teams without a win. And yeah, this is very concerning if you're a Frosinone fan. I haven't seen a lot of their games, so I can't really tell you what's exactly wrong. But maybe I'm hypothesizing a little bit, but maybe this is a similar situation to Spezia where they had a lot of players that don't believe in the project of going back up or fighting for promotion. So it'll be like a similar season to Spezia of last season, just recently relegated. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the future.
For sure, the struggle is very similar. I mean, we are seeing game by game how much difficulties they're going through, but I don't know if it's actually comparable because, as far as I know, Frosinone had a lot of players on loans while they
That's right.
were
Yeah.
in Serie A. So I don't know if a lot of the players that were on loan last season remained with the team. I doubt it, but I don't know,
Yeah,
so I
well,
can't judge the
the big name
situation.
Solé was on loan, but now he is at Roma. But yeah, you are right. A lot of players were on loan that were in their Serie A squad. But let's not take away anything from Brescia. I think they have a really strong team.
Very good point.
They have a very
Very good
good team.
point.
I fully expect them to be up there in playoffs. So definitely not a team to take lightly, Brescia.
Indeed. Then there was Cremonese Spezia, of course, a game that I followed closely as I was doing the live reactions and then the post game live with a few others supporters who were in Cremona. We'll talk about it right after we touched upon all the other games. And Carrarese Sassuolo. This was one of those games played on Sunday. I actually followed it, like I had it on the side. I was taking a look at it because Carrarese will be the next opponent of Spezia in Spezia, a derby that both cities are missing for over 12 years. And I wanted to see what Carrarese was about. I'm not surprised that Sassuolo won, but I saw very little Carrarese. Like they were just waiting for Sassuolo to do their own thing and try to counterattack. And if you let Sassuolo play, it's just gonna knock you out as they did. Although my my prediction was in favor of Carrarese. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Sassuolo was able to win the game. I don't know if you followed it or if you have any comment on it.
No, I mean, I saw the highlights. Sassuolo did have a lot of the chances, but they only got their second insurance goal in the 94th minute through Thorsvedt. So,
the first half finished 0-0. So Carrarese was holding up.
Yes, 77th minute. That's when Sassuolo got the breakthrough. So,
and by the way, sorry if I interrupt you. Samuele Mulattieri is a guy from Spezia. Was born in Spezia and grew up in the youth team of Spezia Calcio. So he's one of ours. And it's poetry that he was the one to score against Carrarese the week before the derby.
That's great. Yeah, we'll talk about the derby in a few, but yeah, I can't wait for that.
Then the next game was Reggiana Südtirol. And yeah, I haven't watched it. I don't know much about it. Kind of disappointing for Reggiana. I heard Roberto Tegoni's opinion about it. Roberto Tegoni is a journalist from Reggio Emilia. He works for Tutto Reggiana, and he was saying that this was clearly a game to, a direct opponent. He considers Südtirol, although he started very well this season, as the direct opponent to avoid relegation, and they lost a crucial game for their season. That's what he was saying. But I haven't seen it. I am looking at the stats here with you for the first time. So it looks like, Reggiana had dominance during the game, 21 shots, 6 on targets, and 60% of possession. But Südtirol, as you would say, was more clinical
Yeah.
and
I mean,
better
that's what,
realization.
possession can't tell the whole story because if you look at
Right.
the Cittadella game, Catanzaro had way more possession, but it was Cittadella who had the better opportunities, in my opinion. Obviously, Catanzaro actually had decent opportunities as well, but Reggiana's home form is still struggling. As if you recall, they only had 2 wins all of last year at the Mappe Stadium. I'm gonna just confirm that, but it was not a
Please.
good home record. No, yeah, only 3 home wins out of 19 last season. So definitely still struggling at home for whatever reason, because they had 7 on the road last year. So I have no idea why they struggle so much when it should
Yeah, il fattore
theoretically be.
campo is not on their side.
No, not at all. But Südtirol, yeah, impressive away win.
Indeed. And then we had Cosenza Sampdoria 2-1. I am really happy for Alvini, and I'm happy for the Wolves who defeated Sampdoria, which is a team that's really, really struggling this
A
season.
mini,
I did not
it,
see this coming.
it's kind of a mini Derby della Lanterna because obviously Cosenza are friends with Genoa fans. They have a
Right.
good bond relationship. So really, it was a win for Cosenza and a win for Genoa in this case.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I mean, Sampdoria, another team like Frosinone, just really bad. They're last place Sampdoria. So I mean,
Right.
who knows? Who knows? It's very, very interesting. I don't know if Tutino played in this game, but
Let's check. Let's see.
I heard he
The
was.
lineups was the following. Coda was
started. I don't know if he was starting because
no, he didn't even get not even
I don't know
as
if
a
he can
substitution.
because I think he's still on loan from Cosenza, so I don't know if he can't. There's a clause where he can't play against.
Okay, it might be that he
club.
can't play against them. That's valid point. I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
my
it
theory.
wasn't even among the players that got called to the game.
That could be the reason, but yeah, Sampdoria still struggling. Then the last game here, Salernitana Pisa. This was this was also on Sunday, but the games kicked off quite late because they had VAR difficulties, technology issues. So even after the games, the slate of games ended, this game was still going on, and Pisa still continuing their form and really impressive under Pippo Inzaghi. Did you watch this game?
Yes, I had it by the side while I was doing other things, and I was hoping that Salernitana, I sympathize for Salernitana. There are several teams in Serie B that I like. Of course, I don't root for them where they're playing with Spezia, but I sympathize for them in other games.
And as a Spezia fan, Pisa is a team where
yeah, that too. But I became not very close friend, but I really like Gabriele Bianchi from Punto Radio, who's a journalist that I had the possibility to interact with and meet in person in Pisa before the first game of the season. So I don't despise Pisa or Pisani. So I understand about the rivalry between the two fan base, the two fan groups, but I don't mind them. I don't mind. Honestly, this season they have a very good team. They got some good players. Filippo Inzaghi knows the category like probably no other
Yeah,
coach. See what he did with
in
Benevento,
in
and probably
Ritana.
this is what it's gonna do this year with Pisa. I don't know what to tell you because they
Yeah,
are the sole leader of the table, right now. So, but again, I thought that it would have been a more open game, but at the end, right before the end of the first half, Daniele Verde, who was trying to help the teammates in a defensive play, kicked, actually, step on foot in the middle of the area
I
and
did
caused
see
the
that.
penalty that gave the lead to Pisa again, right at the end of the first half. And that's what I think compromised the rest of the game. Because just like with Spezia, we were leading in Pisa and they scored a few seconds, the equalizer, a few seconds before the end of the first half. I don't remember if it was the equalizer or just the goal. We were leading already by 2 goals, and it was the goal that brought them closer, that kept them alive, and that changed the mentality of the players, allowed them to stay in the game, and that's what happened in Salerno. You can't count them out. They're a great team, good players, well set up by the coach, and probably they're going to be among the protagonists of this season. So good for them, but I'm sorry for Daniele Verde that compromised trying to help the
Yeah,
situation.
well, speaking of Pisa, we do have some new news about the appeal that they're trying to do for the Cittadella game in August. So
Ah, right.
uh,
Please tell us about it.
next week, next Wednesday, there will be a hearing at the court, the Court of Appeals. So
Okay.
yeah, another appeal. Pisa is really determined to get these 2 extra points, the win on the Tavolino, as they say. So let's see what happens next Wednesday, and maybe by the next time we talk, we'll have an update on this. But man, I like the thing is, I don't want this to go on all season, and I just want this done. Like whether
Right.
Cittadella loses the game 3-0 or the results stay the same, I don't want this to be in March and we're still like discussing. Well, there's still a debate, there's still a appeal to be held. Like I just want this done because um, both teams don't need this distraction. This
Yeah, it makes no sense to drag it along, make a decision already, and then, let's end it. I understand. I understand.
yeah,
And back to these changes, because this potentially could change the table. We touched upon the victory of Cosenza with Sampdoria. Cosenza would be second together with Spezia and other teams at 8 points if they didn't remove those 4 points of penalty. So really congratulations for the team and congratulations to Alvini. I'm really happy for him because I like him as a person. So Cremonese Spezia, I was hoping for Spezia to maintain the undefeated record, and we were able to do just that. A lot of fans said that at the end, in light of how we won in Spezia with Cesena, we're hoping to win. We had the possibility, we had the chances. Cholak at the very last occasion could score, but honestly, we've been lucky enough with Cesena. Let's take this very valuable point in Cremona with a team that didn't miss anything on the market. Like they are set up to win the championship or at least to easily achieve the playoff, and they really want to get promoted. So I'm happy. A point that's very valuable, and let's move forward. To score was Petko Ristov, who recently became father, our captain. I'm happy for him. It was yet another header from a corner, so yet another goal from Palla da Fermo, and it says something. It says something. It says that we are improving with Palla da Fermo, but it says that we're not scoring during action. So at the same time, it's kind of I don't know. It would be nice to score during actions as well. Go ahead,
yeah.
Jake.
Well, this is I saw like, the score. I saw the highlights, obviously, and I think you have to be happy with this point, because it's once again
Absolutely.
another point where Spezia were losing and they found a way to get a result, especially against. We talked a lot about Cremonese trying to be the protagonists of this season. Very good squad that they have. Stropa, I think, is a good coach in Serie B. So it's another point, and it keeps you undefeated. You and Spezia, or Spezia and Pisa are the only teams undefeated so far this season in Serie B. So a point in Cremona uh, should serve you very well. I will say, I was watching the highlights. I don't understand before Hirstov scored. I don't understand the penalty, because I believe it was it Di Serio who they initially called the penalty, but then it was overruled. I don't think he had to dive there. I think if he stood on his feet, he would have had an open goal. What do you think about that? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Sorry, yes, because I was moving the chair. I didn't want to make noises. Thank you, Jake. So, as I was watching the game live, I was certain that it was a penalty because Di Serio was launched toward the goal. He was able to get away from the pressure of a defensive player, but then he was so probably launched, so um, hurried toward the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper was the MVP, like the best player of the game, hands down. Everybody said it. So he moved rapidly to close lo specchio, the visibility of Di Serio, and he either could have kicked it, but he was too fast to control it, or he tried to do the pallonetto, to jump it over and then eventually reconnect with the ball. But I think that he was so out of balance, so fast already, that he realized that he didn't give enough, he didn't control the ball well enough. So as soon as he saw, because you said that he could have caught the ball, I don't think he would have been able to catch that ball after he sent it over the goalkeeper. So after sending it over the goalkeeper, he realized that he didn't have it. He wouldn't have been able to reach it. And he looked for the contact with the goalkeeper. The contact was there, but it was by Di Serio to the goalkeeper, not from the goalkeeper against Di Serio. So as we were watching it live, everybody was certain that it was the right call by the referee. It was a certain penalty. Then they called into the VAR, rightfully so, and through the images you could tell that there was no penalty. Di Serio looked for the contact, and there was no fault. But again, if there was no VAR, it would have been a penalty that remained. But in a way, I'm happy that there was the VAR, because it would have been unfair. So this is one of the
Well,
improvement of technology that
yeah, well,
allowed
I
us
mean,
for a
it
better,
didn't it
more
didn't
fair ruling.
matter in the end, because just a few minutes, you guys got the equalizer, so it all played
Yeah,
out.
maybe would have reopened the match earlier, and we would have had more time to try to find the leading goal, as we've been doing lately. But again, 1-1, I'll take it. We remain undefeated, and let's quickly go through the table, the standings here. And yeah, so Pisa is leading, is the Stall team leading at the top of the table. Then Brescia, Spezia, and Südtirol at 9 points, and then the fifth and the seventh, fifth, Cittadella, sixth, and Sassuolo, seventh, are Juve Stabia, as I said, Cittadella and Sassuolo at 8 points. And Cosenza would be among these three teams, with Juve Stabia, Cittadella, and Sassuolo, without the penalization of the 4 points. Then Cremonese, Cesena, Reggiana, Palermo, and Mantova at 7 points. Catanzaro at 6, Modena and Bari at 5, Cosenza with 4 points, Carrarese and Frosinone with 3 points, and the last and sole team at the end of the table is Sampdoria, with only 2 points, 2 draws, and 3 losses. Jake.
Yeah, it's I think the table is still very tight, but you could kind of see, if I mean, the next match is Pisa against Brescia. That's going to be a huge game. If Pisa could win that game, they're going to really put themselves a few more points clear. and they'll really look like a strong team for promotion. We kind of talked about Sampdoria, Frosinone at the bottom. Carrarese, 1 win, 4 losses. I think people expected them to be down in the relegation, and but yeah, Cittadella still in sixth place. You got to be happy with that. Even with the draw. So yeah, let's move on to the next round. Is yeah, that's the Serie B for you.
Indeed, indeed. Uh, this is Luca Moleta who's following the live. Hi, Luca. Thank you for being here. And he says, hi, Elia and Jake, and Forza Cittadella. Awesome. Thank you for being
Luca,
here. I don't
Lu-
know if this is somebody who
yes,
you know, Jake.
Luca, great friend. He was hosting me while I was during my trip to Cittadella last March. So great guy, and he's a season ticket holder, so he's always there. He's always updating me on
Nice.
definitely what the ultra group is doing, or the Rabaltai, which is the main ultra group. He's usually there, so I'm very up to date when it comes to that. So thank you, Luca.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for being here, Luca, and actively participating to the live. So, how about we go through the analysis of our predictions on round 5, and then we move on to the games of the next round. I'm
Perfect.
about to
Yep,
share
let's
the
do it.
screen with you, and I'll let you lead this part, please, Jake.
Okay, so we already went through the results, but starting with Cesena and Modena, you said a draw, and I said a Cesena win. So you're off to a good start. 1 for you. I
I
don't know.
started strong even last week, and then I scored only the first 3 points.
That's true. That's true. But Bari Mantova, Bari getting the win. We both said Bari wins, so we both get 1. So he's still off to a good one. Juve Stabia Palermo. Let's see. It was a Palermo victory. You said Palermo. I said a draw. I was right after a few hours after we did the live last week. I was thinking, I was like, man, I think Palermo is going to win. I don't know why. I just had that feeling, and I should have said it, but you get the point, and you're off to a 3-0 start there.
Yeah, you had a very big lead, so don't worry about it.
Cittadella, Catanzaro, a draw. We both don't get any points. We both said Cittadella, we're going to win this, but 0 points for us. As well as 0 points for us is Brescia Frosinone. I don't think any of us expected Brescia to win 4-0. So,
and then exactly by 4 goals, this was really an impressive, dominant performance by Brescia.
Yep, indeed. Cremonese Spezia, draw. You said a draw. I said Cremonese win. So once again, another great result for you. Another
I
point.
had faith in the Eagles.
That's right. Carrarese Sassuolo. Sassuolo getting the win. Oh, for some reason we did not expect Sassuolo to win this for whatever. But yeah, 0 points for each. I think that was
Again,
an
I'm not
easy
surprised
point.
that they did win, but I was hoping for Carrarese to not to lose.
Psychologically, get them
Yeah.
pumped for the derby. So,
Yeah, so that they didn't need to score points because already they are nobody. I mean, in Carrara, they've been talking about Spezia Carrarese and Carrarese Spezia since they knew that they got promoted and we were playing again in the same league. But then we'll talk about it. Now, no supporters are basically going to be at the Alberto Pico, maybe just a few hundreds, because like the Pisa supporters, they don't they don't want la tessera del tifoso. Then they still have to put their names and all their information when they go to a home team. But we respect the decisions of the
we'll talk
organizers
about that
fan
in
base.
our upcoming preview. So, but yeah, that's very interesting. Reggiana Südtirol getting the win. I did get Südtirol, so finally I get some points on the board. So 1 point for me. Salernitana Pisa continuing their in. Another point for me. I said Pisa was going to win this. You said Salernitana, so 1 point for me. And then Cosenza Sampdoria. Cosenza getting the win. Ilya continuing your really good run. Another point for
Yeah,
you.
this has been a good week for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so the final results for this is I didn't do so well this round. 5-3. So you
Yeah, I
catch
only
up
caught up 2 points.
2 points. It's still something. So the standings after round 5, it is still only 2 points. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
very
This
interesting.
is how it was before. I was behind by 4, I guess. We were 16-12, and now
And
I'm
is
behind by 2. So
18 or 19 to
yeah,
17.
yeah,
Very cool.
almost there, Jake. Almost there.
That's right. That is right.
So
So
let's
yeah,
move on to the games of round 6, and let's see what are our predictions. Do you want to start?
sure. Yeah. So Catanzaro, Cremonese, the Friday night game. Cremonese making the trip down to Calabria. I don't know because Catanzaro, I don't think they were as it's interesting because I think they're a decent team still, even though what we said in preseason. So I don't know. This is interesting. I'm gonna say X just because long trip. It's a Friday night, so really anything could happen. I think Cremonese is still trying to find their form, so a tie I think is right.
All right, a tie for you. So as far as I'm concerned, I honestly believe that Cremonese, if they want to get their things together, they only have 7 points, 2 losses, 2 wins, 1 draw. At the 8th place, they have to win this game. Maybe taking advantage of Catanzaro not being at the top of their game just yet. I think that your prediction is fair enough. I could see a draw happening, but just to put something different, and because I do think that they have better chances than Carazzaro to win, that Cremonese has better chances to win, I'm going to say 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Then the next game is Palermo Cesena. So Cesena is at the 9th place with 7 points, just like Cremonese. They're a very difficult team to play against, as I said in the previous episode, because it really impressed me to see that Cesena in Spezia with Spezia. They just didn't let us play. And they're coming from the draw with Modena in the derby, as you mentioned. So we should have some doppia, when you say more than one result, but, we don't want to do it that way. So Palermo Cesena. Palermo just won. They have to come back up. I'm going to say X. So a
X.
draw between these two.
Yeah, Mignani coming back to Palermo where he worked last for a little bit of the second part of the season. I'm gonna say Palermo on this. I think so. One, I think you know it's interesting to say. I think it'll be close. Like we said, Cesena a good team, but I think Palermo after that win in Juve Stabia, I think they'll get their pumped up more. So
Mhm.
yeah, one.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I can follow your line of thinking. Absolutely. Sampdoria Sutiro, you are the one to start with this.
I can't see Sampdoria losing any games, so I'm gonna say one because
All right.
I it's interesting. Like I know they got off to a bad start last year and they still made playoffs, but that was also in thanks to Cittadella absolutely collapsing in the second part, and as well as other teams in the mid-table. But I just I can't see them lose for whatever reason. If that happens, like it's just they're one of their clubs. It's one of the clubs where they can't go on a losing streak like
They
this.
can keep on losing. No, I understand. I
I
understand.
can't see it. So one for this. I don't know if it's going to solve all the problems, but it'll definitely be a much needed win. First win of the season.
I was checking that Suttirol is at 9 points, 3 wins,
That's right.
2 losses.
This is a
I know that the
difficult
first
game.
loss for them was with Carrarese. I don't know against who they lost the
To
other
Brescia,
game.
they lost to Brescia.
with Brescia. Okay, Brescia this season is really a tough game. Yes, they can't. Sampdoria can't keep on losing, but Suttiroli is in too good of a shape. I mean, I would
That's right.
say two, but Sampdoria in Genova, they're gonna be really in trouble if they lose this game again.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You don't want to see that happen.
But I'm a fan, and I wish them well. I'm gonna say two.
Okay. That's possible. They did win there last year, if I recall correctly.
Huh.
Yes, they did win 1-0 last year at the Marassi, Südtirol. So it's definitely possible. They're going for two in a row.
It would really be like not the end for Sampdoria because we're only at the sixth game, the sixth round, but it would really mean something because with all the money they spend, with all the players they have, I mean, think about last season in Spezia, most of the fan base was complaining about the fact that we didn't have a striker that could score double digits amount of goals, and everybody wanted Coda, and then there was the only better player, the only better striker scorer in Serie B than Coda was Tutino. Now they got them both, and they still can get there. We'll see. We'll see. Best of luck to them. The next game is Pisa Brescia. It's going to be a
Big
great
one.
game because
This
it's
is probably
between
the
the
biggest game
capoliste.
so far.
Indeed, indeed. So, because I see Pisa being in great shape, because I honestly think that Filippo Inzaghi is the best, if not one of the best, absolutely the best coach of the Serie B because of his track record, I'm going to say one on this one.
Mm. That's fair. I think these
Bold.
big these big matches could go either way. It could be a really good game
Absolutely. Yeah,
between
that's the
two
beauty of it.
games, or it could just be a partitaccia. Is that how you say? Like
Yes, yes.
yeah, it could be just
They just wait
really
for one another, and the goal is not to let play the
uh,
other. Yeah, yeah, it
uh,
could be. Serie B, could be.
biscotti. So
No, for those, I guess we'll have to wait more. We have to be more towards the end of the season.
yeah, I know, but both teams are on the first and second. I think they wouldn't mind a draw. Let's say if it's
Yeah,
in the last
okay, I can
15
see that.
minutes, if the score is 1-1 or something like that, I think both of them will just be conservative. They don't want to lose this game, but they don't. I don't think it's. I think it's too early to really risk forward win it. So for this, I'm going to say a draw X for
All
this.
right. Yeah, no, I I can see that. I can see it.
Biscotti
The
per
next
tutti.
game, biscotti per tutti. Awesome. I love to hear you speak Italian. So the next game is Reggiana Salernitana. It's two teams that are kind of struggling. They both lost the last game. So this is on you first, Jake.
Ah, man, I'm gonna say Salernitana just because I don't like Reggiana's home record so far. I still think they're gonna be struggling. So two for that. Um, yeah, I think Salernitana will get back to winning ways after two straight losses.
I see. I see. I could agree with that. Reggiana, 7 points. They come from two consecutive losses. They started with a draw and then two wins, while Salernitana only 6 points with one victory, one loss, one victory, and then two losses. I'm gonna say X
X.
for kind of similar reasons to those that you mentioned with Pisa Brescia, that they're gonna go for it each game, each team, but then they might decide that if they are close to a draw and 15 minutes are left to play, they might not want to hurt each other too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
And just to say something different from your prediction. So Cosenza Sassuolo. I really like Cosenza this season. Like, just think if they still had those 4 points, we would be looking at a completely different position for them. And
Yeah.
Sassuolo is seventh. They have the points that Cosenza would have had. So similar track record, absolutely the same. 2 wins for both teams and 2 draws and 1 loss. So it's going to be a very open game. And it's going to be in Cosenza. So I'm going to say 1. I support the Wolves.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that happening, but I think for this, I'm gonna say 2. I think Sassuolo, you know, they get that was a much needed win against Carrarese, even though you could say it was against a weaker team. Let's saying that, but I think that was really needed because they had been not struggling, but definitely for a team like Sassuolo with the budget they have, with the expectations, I think they got to start winning games, and for that, I think it's going to be a Sassuolo win. I think Cosenza did. I think it was a intense match against Sampdoria, so I think a quick stop for them for Cosenza.
Okay, could be. I'm happy that we don't agree. There isn't one results yet that we are that we share the same thoughts on, which is good for our game. So it's perfect. The next game is Modena Juve Stabia. So Juve Stabia. First of all, this is your prediction to start, right?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay.
Yes.
So Juve Stabia played a really good game with Palermo. You said, right?
Yes. So Juve Stabia, very good. But I don't know. Like how we always say, Bisoli's team, wherever he goes, they're always so difficult to play against. Juve Stabia making the trip to Modena. I'm going to say an X, a draw for this. I think both teams will get the draw. I think what did Modena do last time? Oh, they did get the draw against Cesena. Yeah, I think a draw is fine in this.
All right. I sympathize for Bisoli. I like Claudio, the journalist that I had the conversation with for Modena. So I support Modena. And coming from a draw, previously a loss, they only won 1 game. I don't know what are the ambitions for this season, because last season they started really strong. They were like second after the first 4. They won like 4 games in a row, and they were at the top of the table. And then they barely survived. They avoid relegation, the relegation spots, the round before the last one. So it's so fascinating. Serie B is so unpredictable.
Yeah, well, similar to Cittadella, Modena went on a streak of consecutive games without a win in the second part of the season. I don't. They didn't lose 8 straight games, but they didn't win for a large period of time.
Right. I'm gonna say 1, just because I wish them well.
Yeah, that could happen.
And then we have Spezia Carrarese. So this is on me. Well, Spezia Carrarese. It's a game that makes history on its own. I think it's among the most felt derbies in Italy. Like there are it's the top 5, in the top 10 for sure.
Wow.
I don't even know why it's considered a derby, because we confine geographically, but we're not from the same. It's not like Genova and Sampdoria. It's not like Milan and Inter, like Torino and Juventus. But nevertheless, it's very felt.
So sorry to cut you off, but
please.
You were talking about the Carrarese fans not showing up at the Alberto Pico. I still don't understand, why is that the case?
So we had this conversation with Claudia Cella, journalist for La Voce Apuana. She even wrote a book about the promotion of Carrarese. So she knows the piazza very well. And she was telling us during the most recent episode of Spazio al Prossimo that we had live on Monday night, that just like the fan base of Pisa, they used to have a gemellaggio. Now it's no longer. They still respect each other. And they used to have a gemellaggio even with Reggiana. But then Reggiana fans embraced La Tessera del Tifoso, so they interrupted the gemellaggio. And this is one of the reasons why there is such an historic resentment, such an historic rivalry between Spezia fans and Carrarese fans. not only because of historic reasons, the vicinity geographically, but because they are friends with fan bases that we're not friends with. So it's like you're the enemy of my enemy is my friend, basically, on this base as well. But anyhow, since Carrarese, just like the Pisa fan base, did not embrace, do not like, they don't want to bend down to the rules of La Tessera del Tifoso, they are not allowed to go in some away games, since this is considered high tension game and there could be potentially issue with ordine pubblico. You need to be recorded, you need to have the tessera del tifoso to know everything about you, basically. Their organized fan base did not do that, so they're not allowed to come. There are theories that they're going to come anyway, but if they come anyway, it's just to mess around and have fights outside the stadium. So I hope that they don't come for this reason. So that's all.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not like super familiar with this. So it's a card, right? Like the del tifoso. The
It's a
what is?
card. So in the Tessera del Tifoso, it's like it becomes basically almost like the social security. They know everything that there is to know about you. Reason being that if they see that you were there and through the recordings or they have information about you, they can come after you. They can uh, imprison you, basically. You know, it is to prevent crime. It is basically, man, we know everything about you. We got you by the balls. Behave or we're gonna come after you.
Mm,
And people just don't want to give their private informations. They don't want to be recorded. You know, there are a lot of these fans that they go with, oh, passamontagna. They cover their face. They don't want to be recognized. Well, those times are gone. Now you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. If you're just coming to beat somebody up, they prevent you from that, and
I
it's
see.
fair in a way.
Okay, well, that's a thanks for that little,
For
that information about it. I think definitely you don't want to see any violence or anything like that. But at the
absolutely.
same time, from a neutral point of view, you want to see in a rivalry both sets of fans, there singing
Exactly.
singing their hearts out, with the flags, with the banners. So not having that is a shame. But you said there will be some Carrarese fans, maybe not the hardcore
Yeah,
as.
by doing this, they are preventing bad consequences, but they are taking away a way of living this passion. Right or wrong, I'm not here to judge it. I'm just here to say it as it is. So, through Tessera del Tifoso, you have to give your codice fiscale, and the codice fiscale is the social security. So once that they got that, they know everything. That even if you missed like to pay some electric bill, for example, you know what I mean.
Mhm,
So they really know everything. And I remember briefly, just an anecdote. Growing up, when I was going to one of these games, Spezia Carrarese, with my father, we used to be late with my father to the stadium. And they were leading down the Carrarese fans from the train station. Now you can't even, there were treni speciali. Like there were trains specially organized. Like the run of that train was solely done for the supporters. Now they don't even allow you to do special trains anymore. So they basically, there were so many cops, la celere, le forze dell'ordine, like it's a special team, like special forces. They squared in all these hundreds of Carrarese fans. They filled up all the Curva Piscina back then, which was the sector exclusively for supporters. Now they only have a section of that. Well, they imagine, the square that the Roman Empire, that the Roman soldiers used to make.
mhm,
So all the cops were squaring them, the perimeter around these supporters. They had them wear blue casaque, like they were wearing something blue to make sure that all the people that were coming out of those trains were easily recognizable should they try to go around the city. And they were just channeling them down from the train station to the stadium to prevent them to cause any issue in the city. Now they don't need to do this anymore because they can track you to the letter, and unless people don't want them to track them and they don't just show up. But that's how serious it was. It was like there was an army set up for these events. Like it was really
Wow.
bad.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow,
Wow. Yeah,
back
that's
to our
definitely
predict, because
interesting.
if you are away, or if you just started to follow Serie B for a couple of years or less than a decade, like in the 90s, these fan bases were just getting together. They were meeting in the autostrada just to get into fights. Is ultras life, it's based on this, like chains, knife, um, rocks. They were meeting at the train station at the next stop where there was no surveillance, just to throw rocks at each other. It's craziness, if you're asking me,
Wow,
but it
that's
is what it
crazy.
is. Anyhow, back to our predictions, because otherwise we're going back into the rabbit hole and I'll keep you here all evening. But I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for that information. I believe it's your turn to
Yes, so
give it.
Spezia arrives to this derby that missed for 12 years as an undefeated team. But we got to keep in mind that derby is a game on its own. Like Carrarese fans have been talking about nothing else since they got promoted. So I'm sure that they pumped the players up. It's a game that deserves a tripla. Like it could be any result, 1x2, because it doesn't matter how far away the two teams they are in the board. However, Spezia should have a better squad, better players. So I'm gonna go with a strong one for many reasons, but anything could happen during this game. So yeah, for me, it's
One.
one.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, it's a derby match, so really any stats, any pregame stuff kind of goes out the window.
Absolutely, yes.
And this is going to be an emotional game. It's going to be, a lot of tensions, a lot of actions. But with that being said, I do think Spezia are the better team, at least on paper. And with their home crowd, with the limited Carrarese fans, I think it'll be too much for them. So I'm going to say one as well for Spezia.
Awesome. Thank you for your support, Jake.
Well, it's my opinion, but I just in let's just hope for a good game. No fights between the two fans. Just want a
Right.
good game. It's going to be on a Sunday, so I I assume, I don't know. Maybe you could tell me, but the whole city will be shut down in La Spezia on this game. All eyes
Yeah, I
on this.
mean, Curva Ferrovia tickets went sold the same day that they opened the ticketing. We have
Wow.
like 900 spots left, so already over 10,000 Spezzini are going to be in the Alberto Pico. Let's put it this way: Alberto Pico will not allow the Eagles to lose this game.
That's true. That is true. I mean, they've been playing well at the stadium ever since that game
Indeed,
against Venezia, or even before that last year. But yeah, I
but
think
we'll see.
Spezia do have the advantage here. And yeah, I think, the Carrarese fans were already, doing insults at the Spezia fans after the game against us. So I
They've been
think,
doing that all season. They've been doing that all season. At every game, they chant something against Spezia. So this is that's what they've been waiting for. It's unbelievable. Anyhow, I was the one to predict Spezia Carrarese first. Next game is Mantova Cittadella. You are up. You are the first to predict the result of your own team.
yes, I haven't actually done much research yet on, this matchup. Funny thing is that Mantova is the closest team geographically to Cittadella this
Hmm.
season. As you know, Cittadella, the only team from Veneto this season, representing in Serie B. So Mantova is actually the closest um, game. I don't know. Like, I think for this, I'm gonna say a draw, just because I don't know much about Modena. Not Modena, Mantova. So it's interesting. I'm gonna just say X for this. I have no
Okay.
idea what to expect.
Right. So since they are so close, are you expecting a lot of Cittadella fans to follow the game, to follow the team
Yeah,
abroad in
I
Mantova?
I do expect. I mean, it's not like a 40, 50-minute drive. It's more than an hour by car
Mhm.
at least. So it's not like you're going to Venezia or Vicenza from Cittadella. But I did see that one of the fan clubs, South Granata Club, are organizing an away trip for Cittadella fans. Not a little, casual, not the hardcore ultra group, but they're
Right.
a separate. But they are organizing a trip, so a lot of fans will
The
be.
ultras are always present anyway, at least
Yeah,
the
yeah,
core
the
of the
ultras
group.
will be there. So I expect maybe 200 Cittadella fans, which is a lot
Okay.
for a team like Cittadella. So
Right.
yeah, I think it'll be a good presentation. Also, it is a Sunday, so it's most people are off work and off school or whatever, so
Right.
it'll be good.
So I was listening to you earlier about Cittadella and Catanzaro. You said that Cittadella really deserved the win. It ended up with a draw. Mantova is a newly promoted team. Is doing well. Like Cesena is not an easy team to play against. But I wish you guys well, and I'm going to say two. Go
Wow.
Cittadella.
Wow.
Go
I
Cittadella.
I thank you for that. That's going to be interesting. That would be the third win on the road this year, and
Hmm.
we're only 6 games in. That's that would be 3/4 of the away wins they had entirety of
I
last season.
believe. I have confidence in you guys.
Okay, well, thank you.
So the last game of round 6 will be Frosinone Bari. Two teams that are struggling, but Bari finally reached the first victory of the season. Let's see the standings. We got Bari 16th place with 5 points, Frosinone 19th, basically only ahead of Sampdoria with 3 points, 3 draws and 2 losses. Bari 2 losses, 2 draws, and 1 victory. I'm gonna say X
That's fair.
with two,
Yeah,
as Buffon says, due feriti e nessun morto, like 2 injured and nobody died.
yeah. Well, I'm just looking at Bari's, away form. They have not won a Serie B away match in regular season, so excluding the play-out game against Ternana, they have not won an away game in the regular season since October 29th, 2023. That was a 2-1 away win against Brescia. So it's been a very, very long time since they've won a game on the road. This might be the best opportunity because it's against a struggling Frosinone team, but I think after that humbling game in Brescia for Frosinone, I think similar to Sampdoria, they cannot lose this game.
Mhm.
I think after that they've been at least woken up and they want to prove something to the fans. So I was thinking about an X2, but I think after having said that, I'm gonna go with the Frosinone win. So 1 for that.
One. Got it. All right. So we'll eagerly wait for the results of round 6 to see how our little game here proceeds and how our teams are going to be performing on round 6, and we will be updating you guys. We will update you at our next live, which is going to be next Wednesday 25th at 7 CET p.m. 7 p.m. CET, right? Is that how you say it?
Yes, and that's 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time
Indeed.
in the United States.
So thank you for participating to this live as you did even today. And you guys can follow us both on YouTube at Elia the Italian Guy YouTube channel. Città Calcio. What is the name of your channel again? I'll let you talk
You
about
could
yours
search up
first.
Città USA. The full name is Città USA Show, but if you just search up Città USA on YouTube, you could find us there on Instagram, Twitter, that too, Città USA, and cittacalciousa.com for articles, news, all that stuff. We have it there, so go check it out.
Awesome. And there is Luca who writes, the next live will be just a few minutes before the Genova Derby. All
That's right.
right.
In
Thank
the
you, Luca,
Copa.
for that. All right.
Let me see. Yeah,
Actually, Jake, when is your next podcast, your next episode of your podcast coming out?
I don't have a set date for that. It's
Okay.
not I don't have it live. it's very hard to get it on live, and I just sometimes just prefer to record it and then send it. But it will definitely be before this weekend, so that'll be previewing the Mantova game and also going a little deeper into the Catanzaro match last weekend.
Awesome, perfect. So as far as I'm concerned, as I said, Elia the Italian Guy on YouTube. We do encourage you to subscribe to our channels if you would like to support this kind of content. Thank you very much. We're also present on TikTok and on Instagram as Elia the Italian Guy, or as Speziato if you are more interested in sport-related content. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, Valentino. And thank you, Nicolas. Good evening for being part of this live. And we'll see you on the next one. If you guys allow me, I will leave you with this short clip of one of the most recent videos now present, now public on our channel, which is the presentation of one of the book, the 23rd book written by Armando Napoletano. The introduction to the book was made by Ruud Krol, which was a great historical player of the Netherlands team, the Arancia Meccanica. And this is the promo to the video that introduces the book written by Armando Napoletano and Roberto Pennino. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you. Good luck this week against Carrese, and we'll see you next week speaking Serie B.